shonga chuji anji podrana toksen sanji kanji gonyet azme shurka muzme stunza bar sawe lama namla sorwate kirba sanji chua shikta nyamba drupa shumla tanda sanjine manere dambe janzo to jamso shabla sorwate lame josme jamso toje shurka kare panma shumla ji shenri tinga kyawe nyuku ye tanda drupa tanjine drupara ho ranji lame trambe kajela kosme charo shidru la zohe rale jana nipre tujo tuyo irmi jiwara shinji lo. Everybody raise bodhicitta to benefit countless suffering sentient beings. To sacred Bodhisattva, the precious and excellent mind. Where it is not, may it arise. Where it is, may it never decline, consistently growing, rising higher and higher. That all beings may have happiness and all the causes of happiness. That they may be free from suffering and all the causes of suffering. That they may never be separated from the great happiness, devoid of suffering. That they may forever dwell in the great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. And welcome everybody. We start these most auspicious teachings of Atiśa, the Bodhisattva's garland of jewels. And it's on a very auspicious day as well. Today is the 4th day of the 6th month. This is the day in which Buddha turned the Dharma wheel in Sarnath. So it's considered as a very auspicious day, a day to do many meritorious deeds, and it brings a lot of merit. And in fact, there are really 4 months. In those 4 months that there's auspicious days, and those months are considered auspicious. The first month is the first month of the year of the Tibetan calendar. The 4th month is the month in which Buddha attained enlightenment, parinirvana, and that he was born. And in the 6th month is the month that he taught, the first time he turned the Dharma wheel. And the 9th month is the month that he returned from the God realm of 33. So these are all considered very auspicious months. But before we start, we do speak a little bit about Atiśa. And Atiśa was born in 982 AD. He was born in India, in East Bengal. And he was born into a very wealthy family. His father was a king, and his father, in fact, eventually wanted him to take over the kingdom from him. From the age of 3, he started learning education, science, astrology, medicine, and apparently by the age of 6 he was a great adept. He was really educated in all of these. And he was first given the name Chandrugapa, which means moon essence. And from a young age, he was always a very kind and gentle child. Now his parents, they, as you said, really wished him to take over the kingdom from them. So at the age of 11, they started discussing marriage plans for him and discussing it with him. Now I often wonder, what would I be like at 11, discussing marriage plans? Myself, I didn't even start education until 6, never mind be an expert. And then also talking about marriage. I didn't even think about marriage at the age of 11. Anyway, in those days it was the custom. And he really didn't want to get married. He had no interest in the mundane world. In fact, from the age of 10 already, he was going after the horses, and his parents thought he was going hunting. But in actual fact, what he was doing, he was actually finding teachers, and he was attending teachings from masters, of which the first master, I think his first master's name was Chittari. And when his parents were talking to him about getting married, he said, you know, for him, it would be very, very difficult. For normal people stuck in samsara, they are like a goat that is stuck in sinking sand, very, very uncomfortable. He said, but for himself, he would be like an elephant stuck in sinking sand. So he's really stressing the fact that he wouldn't be happy or wouldn't be comfortable in samsara, that he really wanted to practice and become a practitioner and live a solitary life or a life of benefiting of others. And one of his teachers actually gave him sent some students back with him, back to the palace. Now, they used to dress funny and they used to do funny things, and or not usual. But in fact, they were really good practitioners. Eventually, by the age of 18, his parents agreed. They said, all right, please take this bunch that you brought with you, take them away, and also we agree that you can live a life as a practitioner, and we wish you well. And so he carried on practicing, and he became a very good practitioner, very good in the esoteric practices, in the tantric practices. And he was starting to consider that maybe he would go on his own to practice because he really wanted to attain enlightenment as quickly as possible. And his teacher at the time, Rahula, knew his thoughts and said to him, where do you think you're going? What are you doing forgetting about sentient beings by leaving? Don't leave them. Take ordination and it'll do great work for the teachings and it'll really be beneficial for the teachings. So he agreed, and Rahula always used to stress the importance of love and kindness to him. At the age of 29, he took his monastic vows and continued practicing. And one day, it said he was circumambulating at Bodh Gaya, and Bodh Gaya is the holy place where Buddha attained enlightenment. And at the time, he saw two statues talking to each other. Other stories say that he heard two women talking together. From a young age, it is said that he had many visions, visions of masters and visions of Tara. He had a very close relationship with Tara, many visions of Tara. And when he was young, he also had dreams and visions that the masters came to him and said, you've been a monk before, and you've been a monk for over 500 times, 500 lifetimes before this. And also one of the things that he stressed to his parents as well, when they were trying to convince him to get married and stay at the palace, he said, there is no difference for my mind between a palace and a prison. There is no difference between a beautiful and expensive clothes and torn garbage. There is no difference between delicious food and torn rags, or delicious food and dog meat and pus. And there is no difference between princesses and Mara women. So he really had no attachment to these worldly things. And he heard the statues, and the statues were saying, the one was asking the other one and said, what is the best practice to attain enlightenment? And the other one answered, well, the best is bodhicitta. So he became very dedicated to finding the best master to practice bodhicitta. And at that time, the best master was known to be Dharmakirti, very famous for the practice. And he lived in the Golden Isle in Sumatra in Indonesia. So he decided to go and find Dharmakirti, also sometimes known as Guru Salimpa, and I might use those names interchangeably. And he went, and it took a 13-month boat trip to get there, and there were very many hardships. Now, sometimes think for us, when our teacher's up in the mountains, we have to travel a long way, maybe 2 days. Getting there takes a while, and we only stay for a few days, we only stay for a short while, and then we go again. Although we want to be there a long time, either we don't have enough time, or for some people it's a little bit of burden to go and travel so far. Now you think they travel what? He traveled 13 months to go and find Dharmakirti. And when he eventually got there, he still waited 12 months before he had the opportunity to meet with Guru Salimpa, to meet with Dharmakirti. And when they met, there was an immediate connection. They say the connection is because of past lifetimes, the practices or the studies, or the connections that they had. And Dharmakirti said to him, you will become an excellent practitioner. And within 3 years, you'll have really very special sensory abilities, and for sure you'll be able to practice bodhicitta. And he practiced there, and eventually at the age of 45, after 12 years of being on the Golden Isle in Sumatra, he returned back to India. And he went to Nalanda, and he very quickly got a very good following in Nalanda and became very important in Nalanda. Now, at the same time that this was happening, there was a King Yeshio in Tibet, and at that time the Dharma had started to regress. What had happened was, in the beginning, it was established by Guru Rinpoche and King Trisen Detsen. But after that, there was a King Langdharma who really did his utmost to try and destroy the Buddhism. And he lived from 863 to 906 AD. And how did this come about? There's the story of the stupa, where there was a lady and her 4 sons that built a stupa. And in building the stupa, they had a lot of help. There was also an ox that was helping them. And when they finished the stupa, they made great aspirations. And one of the aspirations was the 4 brothers wished that they would establish Buddhism in Tibet. And they actually came back as Guru Rinpoche and King Trisen Detsen and the other 2 that really established Buddhism in Tibet. But at the time that they made the dedication, they forgot to dedicate the merits to the ox, who had also worked very hard. And the ox was very angry. And the ox said, or thought to himself, I really am going to destroy this Buddhism that they try and establish, because he was so angry. And so they say he came back as Langdharma, who the king who really wanted to destroy the Dharma in Tibet. So with this, we must be very, very careful about what wishes or what aspirations we make, the vows we make. Anyway, Yeshio was concerned. There were some funny practices going on at the time, some kidnappings and some sacrifices, and there were some texts that he thought that maybe contradicted each other. So he wanted to sort this out. So he sent an entourage of 21 students to India. And of those 21 students, only 2 of them came back. It said the other 19 died of heat. Anyway, when they came back, he asked who's the best person, who would be best to bring to Tibet from India to help and re-establish the Dharma here in Tibet. And they said there's one very special teacher, and his name is Atiśa, and they believe that he would be the best person. So he went to accumulate gold, because in those days, people really, really respected the Dharma. They placed a lot of value on it. You often hear stories of students making great offerings to receive the Dharma. And it's not that the teachers want these offerings. It's ourselves, the value that we place in the teachings. Often the teachings, you hear stories where the people gave the teachers gold dust and they just threw the gold dust into the air. On his quest to find gold, he got captured by Golub Khan. And then his nephew, changchub, heard about this, and he went to go see Yeshio and he approached Golub Khan and said, please release my uncle. And Golub Khan said, as soon as you bring me his body's weight in gold, I'll release him. So he accumulated gold. And when he went back, King Yeshio said, no, sacrifice my life, take that gold and give it to Atiśa as an offering to come and give us the teachings. And so that's what he did. He went to Atiśa. Now apparently the first time they went to Atiśa and they offered gold, he said, why are you offering me gold? There can only be 2 reasons. One is that you think I want gold, which I really don't. And the second is that you need a bodhicitta to help you, and I really don't have that realization. Anyway, on the second time, they met him. A while later, they requested him again, and they told the story of Yeshio and that he'd sacrificed his life, wishing for Atiśa to come to Tibet. And so he was really moved, and he agreed to go. And then he went to discuss this with the abbot of Nalanda, and the abbot was very reluctant because he was very important in Nalanda. Eventually they agreed that he could go for 3 years. So they traveled around India together, and it's apparently said that at that time they also bumped into Naropa, the very famous Naropa, and Naropa said to him that he was a true holder of the lineage, of the teachings. Then they went through the Kathmandu Valley, to Tibet. And on the way, they met none other than the eye-opening translator, Marpa. Now, Marpa was very famous because, one, he was an incredible practitioner, and the other is he's the teacher of this great saint, Milarepa. And they said to him, please come and translate for us. And he said, unfortunately, I'm going to go to India. I've been requested by my teacher to go to India. And this is the third trip, and maybe the last trip, and I really want to satisfy his wishes, so I won't go with you. So they went to Tibet, and when they were in Tibet, he started teaching. And at first, when he was teaching, he found out that the people there, the practitioners, they really had a great understanding of the teachings. And so he started thinking to himself, what am I doing here? Am I wasting my time here? But then he found out that they didn't have methods to master the teachings, to tame their mind. And even Changchub, when he was there, he requested Atiśa, he said, for the Tibetan people, we do not want one-on-one measures that are so vast we are unable to adopt them. What we need is something that will tame our minds and help us deal with our everyday behavior, our karma, and its results. Please teach us the measures you yourself use. And he taught, and after 3 years, it was time to go back to Nalanda. But at the time, there was a great war happening in Nepal, and it would have been very unsafe for them to return. So Atiśa said, we're not going back. And his entourage said, but we've made this vow that we're going to go back. And he said, there's nothing we can do. Around that time as well, he wrote a manuscript, or a text, The Lamp of the Path to Enlightenment. And this is a very famous text, even today. And they sent this to Nalanda. And when they got the text, they critiqued it. They scrutinized it. In those days, they used to scrutinize the text. And if you got something wrong, they used to humiliate you. As they did try to do to Shantideva. We all know the story of Shantideva, who eventually they tried to humiliate him. And he wrote that most incredible teachings, The Way of the Bodhisattva. And I really suggest these teachings as well. In fact, what he wrote so well that they even asked him to write a commentary on his own teachings. Then he taught so much, especially he emphasized refuge and respect for the master and cause and effect. And eventually they started calling him Lama Cause and Effect and Lama Refuge. And he was very delighted with this actually. He used to chuckle to himself and he said, very, very good. The more and more you mention this name, the more and more chance that it's going to stay in your mind streams. So and then eventually he died at the age of 72 in 1054. Also, before he came to Tibet, he asked Tara. He had a vision of Tara and he asked Tara, he said, should I go to Tibet? And apparently the answer was that yes, you should go. If you go, you'll live to the age of 72. If you don't, you stay in India, you'll live to the age of 92. And he said, well, if I go, it's going to be beneficial to sentient beings. And the vision said yes. So he said, okay, then I'm going. And he died at the age of 72. So he's a very famous teacher, very famous, like Langra Tampa, who wrote the 8 verses of mind training, Togme Zampo, who wrote the 37 practices of a Bodhisattva, practiced by all schools of Buddhism. And even you read the words of my perfect teacher, so often Atiśa is brought up, the quotes of Atiśa are brought up, and he's said to be one of the founders of the Kadampa lineage. And what the Kadampas used to say as well, what they had a very important saying to them was, see harmony in all doctrines, receive instructions from all teachings. And that's a little bit on Atiśa. Now we cherish this opportunity to listen to these teachings. We have this connection with these teachings, and starting on such an auspicious day, and also that we are so fortunate to have such an incredible teacher like Gyalwé Nyugu Rinpoche. So we start with the teachings, and it starts with homage. Why do we pay homage? Because it helps to inspire us. It helps us to develop devotion. And what is the first thing we say? Homage to compassion. How incredible is this? Homage to love and kindness, compassion. Homage to this mind of ours that has, or the state of mind of love and compassion, which is so important. We've all benefited from love and kindness. Other people benefit from love and kindness. It's a most incredible state of mind. This is incredible quality of mind. And this is what he thought was so important. He went to the Golden Isle to practice, was bodhicitta, of which the foundation of it is love and kindness and wisdom. And then homage to the deities. Why to the deities? Because they're the realizers of these qualities, these very same qualities that we want to realize in our own mind stream. We really wish to be like them. We really wish to benefit sentient beings like they do. So they really inspire us. They give us motivation, encouragement. And they help us to remove our obstacles. And they help us to remove our obscurations. Now, what are obscurations and obstacles? These are the things that stop us from practicing. And what predominantly stops us from practicing is our own arising thoughts, our own distractions. So it's like when you go up to Tibet in the mountains, there often are rock slides and landslides, and these rock falls. And what happens is really huge, massive rocks block the road, and you can't go any further. You just have to wait until all of the rocks are cleared again. And this is the same as these thoughts of ours. What do? They block us. They stop us from carrying on our path to practice. We might think, how do thoughts block the way? How do they get in the way of our practice? We think, oh, I'm practicing. And then we think, oh, I'd really like to go shopping. So off we go shopping, and we shop, but a few hours, 5-6 hours later, we come back. So enthusiastically go shopping. And all that has done is it's taken us away from our practice. If we carry on like this, there's other important things to do that we think, like maybe work, or we have to go see this person, I better phone that person, maybe I must organize this, maybe I must organize that. It all distracts us from our practice. And it could be that it distracts us for a day, a week, a month, a year. So it's just like it stops us from carrying on the path. Just like those rocks stop us from going further up the mountain. So if you see rocks on the path, remove them. Those random thoughts are coming up and they're obstructing our path to practice, then let them go. And what are obstacles? Also, sometimes for some people it's very difficult to practice. Sometimes they're slaves, sometimes they're kept against their will, so they don't have the opportunity to practice. Sometimes people are in relationships, and in those relationships, the other people are reluctant to let them go and do what they want. They hold them close by all the time, so they don't have the opportunity to practice. Sometimes they're so involved in their greed, that's all they want to do is earn money instead of practice. All of these things are obstacles. They stop us from practicing. Or it's some people that just really don't have a connection with the teachings. No matter how well you explain to them, how much time you explain to them, they just don't get it. Or they're just not interested. They're really not interested. They think you're trying to trick them. And the third, homage to the masters. So important. They're like the deities as well. They inspire us. They encourage us. They give us guidelines. They give us pith instructions. They give us teachings. They treat us with love and kindness and compassion. They use their skillful means to help guide us, to change us, to set us on the right path. We say, but isn't Buddha so important? Yes, Buddha is so important. And the teachings are so important. But Buddha's not here. Our teacher's here. So many people say the teacher is more important than Buddha now. Because right now, this is who we can talk to. This is who we can get these teachings from. We can pick up the phone. If we want to get some information from Buddha, what's going to happen? Send him a WhatsApp or a WeChat message. Try to get them, phone them, they don't answer. Send the message, they don't answer. This Buddha's too busy for me. But the teacher's here. In previous lifetimes, when Buddha was here, either we didn't practice and attain enlightenment, or we met him, but we just weren't interested in the practices at the time, or we didn't have the opportunity or the merit to meet him. But now we have the opportunity. Who do we have this opportunity with? With our teacher now. All those lifetimes after Buddha till now, why didn't we attain enlightenment? Now is our opportunity to attain enlightenment. Now we've got that connection. So then it's up to us to really practice the teachings as they're given to us. So the teachers, in this respect, their great love and kindness and compassion is really incredible. They teach us about cause and effect. They teach us about impermanence. They teach us how precious this human life is. They teach us about the suffering of samsara, the suffering of these emotions. They teach us of the importance of love and kindness, unconditional love and kindness, bodhicitta, and wisdom emptiness. And there's all sorts of teachers. There's teachers that teach us normal education, teachers in daily life, that teach us how to do things in life. People that give us a hard time are also our teachers. Teachers who give us our vows, teachers who teach us the basics as beginners, and our enlightened teachers, our Vajra teachers. And they are the most important teachers. And I always used to say as well, why do they always start these texts with offerings or homage? I used to go to these great teachings, thousands of people there. The first 1 day, 2 days, spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours with people bringing in all these gifts, all of these scriptures, all of these statues. And I used to think, what are all of these offerings for? What is all this display of wealth for? Let's get on with the teachings. But now I understand better. This is all offerings. It's from our heart. And it's start to realize how important the teacher is, our enlightened teacher is. And you look at all the texts, all of them have got homage and offerings to our great teachers. And most of them even start right in the beginning. Even look at the 3 words that strike the vital point by Garland Dorji. What is it? He starts with offerings and homage to his teachers. So teachers are very important. We have our 3 gurus, the outer guru, the inner guru, and the secret guru. The outer guru is the teacher, as we explained earlier. It gives us the teachings, the pith instructions, the love and kindness and compassion. Our inner guru is our own mind of love and kindness. And the secret guru is that state of mind, the enlightened state of mind. That state of mind in equanimity, and as afflictions arise, that they are automatically liberated. Then we start with the first verse. Be done with doubt and indecision, and embrace your practice with all your heart. Shake off lethargy, dullness and laziness, and strive always with enthusiasm and joy. Skeptical, doubt. Many people have skepticism and have doubt. And I think this is a great problem today. Why is it like this? I think maybe what has happened before, people have followed others blindly, followed leaders blindly. And as a result, what has happened is that it caused great damage, great harm to others. And so people have taught to be skeptical, taught to doubt, taught to ask questions. And this is very good, as long as you go and find the answer. If you just doubt, and just leave it as doubt, then you don't really know. But if you go and find the answer, then you resolve it. Then it's no longer doubt anymore. Yes, it is like this, or no, it's not. Somebody says, oh, there's this beautiful mountain over there, and at that mountain there's the rock that looks like an incredible deity. And when you're there, you feel so peaceful. And you say, if you go and have a look, and you go there, and you see, yes, it's there. You go a second time, you go a third time, and each time you go, you see it's there. Then what happens is you don't doubt that anymore. So you don't have to accept everything that everybody says, but if you want to, you go and investigate. Is it true or not? And then you remove the doubt. I used to be skeptical as well. At first I started a little bit, learned a little bit of Christianity. Then I was skeptical about everything, criticized everything, and I thought I was very clever in doing that as well. I thought I knew a lot. Now I found out that actually I didn't know so much. People ask, is it really real? Isn't it just superstition? Is this enlightenment really possible? I really doubt this cause and effect. They're just doing this to control us. People think the people that go and they work at the monastery and they help build the monastery, or they go help do meritorious deeds, accumulate their merit, and other people think these people are doing this just to trick the people so that they can work for free, that they get the other people to build their building for free. So we're quite funny actually. We really doubt. We're skeptical about spiritual teachings, these intangible things. But when it comes to social media, advertisements, we gobble them up. We believe them with hardly any doubt at all. All of these media, all of these things are only coming into being now. Most of what it is to get your information, to make a profit from you. But this is what we believe in. This is what we invest in. This is what we believe in. But the great teachers, they tell us lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, centuries. They tell us the same thing. Love and kindness. Tell us not to do negativity, to do positivity. They teach us about cause and effect, about things change, impermanence, how precious this life is, and that there is suffering. These emotions are suffering. But we don't believe them, we doubt them. Interesting, isn't it? This doubt, we discriminate. We discriminate between different religions, different schools of thought, instead of respecting them, instead of creating a sense of unity. We doubt the natural laws of this world. We doubt the truth. The thing is, if you doubt, what happens? Unless you actually go and find out the truth, we just doubt. We never start to practice. We never start to practice. What are the chances we're going to have to change, to transform? And then at the end of the day, we die and we think, what did we really achieve? What did we realize in this lifetime? It's a great obstacle, this doubt, especially in the practice of the great perfection. But I think with most things that you do, If you just doubt things, you procrastinate, you don't start. Some people worry, they say, I really don't have enough belief. They really worry about this. Don't worry. In the beginning, a lot of us start with doubt. For us, many people, it's natural to have doubt. But if you start investing in the teachings, you practice, the more you practice, the more you see, oh, what the teacher says is true. Then you're more willing to practice. Then your belief becomes bigger or greater. Your doubt reduces. And continue like this, keep on practicing. And through the practices, your doubt will become less and less and less, and your belief will become stronger and stronger. And eventually, you get to the stage that you really see the way things were so different to the way that you thought they were before. And very often, you're not going to go back to those old ways. And on that note, let's end the teachings for today. We'll end it with a saying that Atiśa, they said he often used to recite to himself. He used to say, I pay homage to the awakening mind, which destroys any rebirth in the lower realms, liberates from all obstructions, and illuminates the majesty of complete Buddhahood. And then let's dedicate these merits. First, to Gyalwé Nyugu Rinpoche, His Holiness Lama Achuk Rinpoche, all perfect teachers, and the greatest of gratitude. Sonam deye tamja dzapanye, topnye nyepe dranam kajeja, keka najir balang trupai, tibu tsoli drowa sho. By this good, may all obtain omniscience, having defeated the enemies of wrongdoings in the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. May all beings be freed from the ocean of the suffering of samsara.